Hi, everyone. I'm excited to welcome Karen for this Great People interview series. She's a social media trainer. And let me pass it on to Karen to introduce herself a little in detail, please.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you for inviting me today. That's really lovely to be here with you. Yes, I'm Karen Cureton and I am a social media trainer. I tend to be a bit of a mentor. What happens with my clients, I don't know quite why. I must wave some sort of magic wand over them. But I think because of my background, because of the corporate background that I have, I end up mentoring a lot of my clients because I've experienced as I call it, the grown-up business world. But also I've took a business from concept with no funding,
Wow,
through to successfully launching my business. Well, I've been working full-time in my business for over 10 years now. And I suppose what's different about my business and the way I like to work is my business has grown organically. I didn't have a grand plan to sit in front of the dragons and say, give me your money. But it's grown through the needs of my clients. And I suppose it's just the way I roll really is that I like to adapt and hone things to suit people. And as a small business, that's something we can do really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Being agile is one of your USPs if you're a small business. But at the same time, you're highly profitable. So, ultimately what matters in business is profits, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, 100%. My husband will often say to me, has it been a good month in the business? Can we book a holiday?
Wow.
But yeah, and I think that's exactly the word. It's agile. We don't have to answer to a board.
Yep.
Have to answer.
Yeah, be there. Know what you say.
Unfortunately, I am the head of HR, the head of accounts,
yeah,
the head of diversity and inclusion, everything, head of marketing. I'm the head of everything.
And so head of wallet. Head of money.
Head of money. But it's a blessing and a curse, I think.
Yeah.
And I said this to somebody. I was chatting to a young lady the other day who's recently completed a digital marketing course. And she was asking my advice about setting up her own business. And I said, be prepared for a roller coaster ride, because the easy thing would be to go and get a job.
Yeah.
to go and get a job. And I've turned down jobs in the last 10, 15 years since I left the corporate world, because I like being my own boss. I've got to say, I'm probably unemployable now, as in nobody would want to employ me. But I love the fact that it was like this morning when I was brushing my teeth. Isn't it strange how you think of these ideas when you're not planning them?
Yeah.
And I came up with an idea to run a 6-week challenge to help people create content for their social media. And I thought I was going to do it for my retained clients. And I thought I could put this out there and I could just like that market it and get it out there and see what happens and just go with the flow. Yeah, and I suppose that's why I love being my own boss and running my own business. But you still got responsibilities and ties. It's like today I'm going up to a Chamber of Commerce event, and I've got to mentally justify taking 4 hours away from my business.
Yeah. That's a challenge as well, I guess.
It is, because it's the effort versus the reward is always what I will say to people, is that by going to that in-person event, how exciting, to an in-person event, I get to be visible as the face of my business, as the voice of my business. And if I meet one person who then becomes a new client, then it's been well worth it.
Very true. Very true. Well, so what's the name of your business and why?
It's very boring, actually, Sachin. Well, there's actually a little story behind it. So my initials are KC, and some of my friends call me KC. So when I originally set up my business, I registered as KC Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Then I met a lady locally who was a business coach, and her business was KC Coaching.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, too close. So we decided to rename the business Cureton Consulting, because Cureton's my last name, and it's quite unusual. And people tend to remember the name. So if you go to a restaurant for dinner, people will say, oh, it's Cureton, and they remember it, and then they ask how to pronounce it. And I think I had one lady contact me actually through Facebook who is also Karen Cureton, but she's in America, and she contacted me to say she'd been trying to set up a Facebook business page as Cureton Consulting, and she couldn't because I'd already nabbed the name. So there's not a lot of Curetons around, but so Cureton Consulting is sort of overreaching for the business name. And then what sits within that is the portfolio of services that we offer, because I have a team of people that work alongside me, but they're not employed by me. I've seen too many business friends employ staff, and I think unless you absolutely have to, I'm not doing that one.
Yeah. So tell us more about your backstory, because you mentioned, you worked in corporate, and
yeah, my backstory is quite strange, because there's a lot of younger generation coming into social media because they've grown up with the internet and they've grown up with phones, and sort of physically attached to their hands. Do you know what I mean? And I came to it from a entirely different route, because I'd always wanted, when I left school at 16, and didn't want to go into further education. I wanted to go to the school of life, I suppose. Now I wish I'd gone to uni and had that whole experience, or gone to college and doing something. But I ended up that I wanted just to work with people, because I love being with people. And long story short, my big passion was property. And as a family, we moved house, lived all over the country, lived down in the south, lived in Yorkshire, ended up back in the northeast where I'm originally from. And I had a real passion for new homes. And I ended up selling new homes for a local property developer up in the northeast of England. And I saw this as a great career route for a woman who didn't have a degree. And I ended up, long story short of it, was I was sales director for a national house builder.
Wow.
And I absolutely, how I got there, I just don't quite know, but I just have this urge to please, this urge to support and help people. And for me, in my old corporate role, that was very much what we did, because we worked with people to help them find the most expensive purchase of their life. And it was incredibly satisfying. You had a real impact on them if it went right.
Yeah, you made a difference, because it was, one of the major decisions.
Yeah. And we absolutely, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I wasn't able to have a family when I wanted to. So I was 40 when I had my son. And at that time, they couldn't spell flexible working. They weren't engaged with flexible working. And my husband said, do you know what it is, Karen? You love training. I was doing quite a lot of training for my company. And I'd initiated a training program for my team that they then took nationwide. So it was a huge deal. And so I started looking at other opportunities when I was on maternity leave. Can you believe it? And I started picking up bits of work. And then in 2008, we went into recession and everybody stopped training. That was the last thing they wanted to do. And I thought, I need to find another route. And I was a really early adopter on social media. I was first on Twitter and spent 6 months on Twitter, thought, what's all the fuss about? And realized that I wasn't applying everything I'd learned as, in essence, a salesperson, which is you build know, like, and trust with people. When you're selling a house or a car or a table and chairs to somebody, you're building rapport with them. And what social media allows you to do, if you do it well, you can build that relationship virtually with people. And the minute I flicked that switch back into applying everything I learned as a salesperson, I started to get results. And then started looking at other opportunities, and people used to contact me and say, can you show me why you're successful at this? And it was all organic. And I just built my presence and then added to the portfolio. And I've got to confess, I resisted Instagram for a long time. And I resisted Instagram because I see Instagram, there's an awful lot of people going, look at me, aren't I fabulous? Aren't I just gorgeous? Aren't I just wonderful? And that really is alien to my nature. For me, social media, what people forget is it's called social networking, Sachin.
Yeah.
It's building relationships, because I had a call with a guy last week who was interested in some LinkedIn training, and he said, well, how long is it going to take for me to get results? And I said, well, hang on a second. I'm holding up this invisible piece of string. How long is it? And he said, well, I have no idea. And I said, neither have I, because the people who may be your perfect clients may not be yet ready to engage with you. So you need to show up regularly and consistently, being that person that's genuine.
Yeah.
And that was the thing for me, is that Instagram, for me personally, for a long time I resisted. But then 4 years ago, I remember exactly where I was. I was on holiday in Phuket, when we could go on holiday when we don't think about it. And I thought, I was lying by the pool and I thought, do you know what it is? I'm just going to go for it. Just feel the fear, do it anyway. And I'm now, I've got quite a big presence on Instagram.
Wow.
Just like that.
Yeah, that's really powerful. What social media can do for you. But you nailed the point about trust and building relationship. It's not about the quantity of traffic and its number of likes or number of views. It is the quality of those likes. It is
absolutely
quality of that traffic. It might be that just one like or one particular comment that you would probably want somebody genuinely interested in what you're saying. And then that communicates to the right person who booked an appointment with you. Job done.
100%. I totally agree. In fact, I had this exact conversation with a lady yesterday who I know through the business community in Derby. And she says, oh, I'm really stressing. I'm not posting enough. I said, post less. She said, what? I said, post less, but post really great quality content. So you become known as the go-to resource or expert for what you offer. Yeah. And I think the problem with social media, as much as I am totally hooked on it and I love it, I absolutely love it, because I have some huge fun with it, is people are addicted to using on their phones rather than putting a plan together. I'm a big one. I think we need structure, we need plan, we need focus. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are missing out on, the really the beneficial part of social media, whether it is business or image building, or whether it is your sales campaign, or simply, a branding campaign, or just being out there to create your reputation. So as we say, online reputation management, whatever it might be, the reason why you are on social media, you need to have a strategy in place, a plan in place. You could not, or those who go after just the traffic, right? They are the ones who get addicted, because addiction is always looking for quantity, right? And you're saying, I got 5 likes, 50 likes, and now I have 115 likes. Well, that's addiction because you don't have a goal set.
Well, absolutely.
How
And,
much,
and their vanity,
what
and their
exactly you're
vanity.
looking for? Are you really looking for the number of likes? And then there's a not really. So why are you posting? And if I am posting for a reason, is that goal, if defined, is it achieved? Yes, I have achieved because I wanted, these things to happen, right? But those who do not have a plan and strategy, right, and who come out of those digital marketing courses, as you rightly said, they know, and probably most of the courses are responsible for this false, illusion.
Yeah, but they're vanity numbers, aren't they? I mean, I have a client I'm working with at the minute, and my associate runs her social media accounts. And she said, "Oh, we haven't got loads of followers." I said, "Yes, but your engagement rate is high."
Exactly.
Followers, for me, it's a vanity number, isn't it? It's about, I would far rather, and funny enough, in the first lockdown, I had a big clean out of my followers, because on Twitter in particular, which was my first platform, I've got over 6,500 followers. It's ridiculous. And Twitter was, well, it was accelerated by the fact that about 4 years ago, I won, Theo Pafitas does a Small Business Sunday competition. And when you win that, your followers go through the roof. People follow you just because you're a Small Business Sunday winner, but they're not people that you have meaningful conversations with.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are. And for me, it's about having the right conversations with the right people and building relationships with them, because business is, we never know the point at which somebody's going to be saying, "I'm aware of what you do. It sounds interesting, but I'm not ready to engage with you yet." And that can change in the blink of an eye. Yeah. I mean, really, and that's the key.
Those who have done just a simple, or I should say, common digital marketing course, they need your expertise to understand how to implement, what they have learned to make some business sense. And, how do you actually get into a conversation? How do you increase, as you rightly said, the engagement rather than, just the traffic and just the numbers? And I think that's where, a mentor and a coach like you comes into picture. And I guess, that's something really, really valuable. So all you have been doing, so far, and, throughout your journey, what has been your biggest challenge, and how you dealt with it?
Oh gosh, probably COVID was a big challenge. In 2019, I had my best year ever for the business. I'd won an award. I'd been shortlisted for 3 awards, won 1. And it was a really big year for the business, had some great plans for 2020.
So which awards can you just mention?
Yes, I was a finalist at the Federation of Small Business Awards in the digital marketing category. I was also a finalist in the Leicester Business Awards and a finalist in the Women's Awards. And I won in my category at the Women's Awards. I've got to say, I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it, because we got
Women's
to the
Awards was organized by whom?
The Women's Awards is run by a East Midlands entrepreneur, who wanted to recognize women who had really delivered something extra to the community. So there's quite a few different categories, and one of my clients nominated me, which was quite lovely. And then we got to apply to enter. And I would say entering awards is a really great thing for any young business person to do, because it's credibility. I remember sitting in front of this gentleman about 6 weeks after I won my award, and he said to me, so called me Mrs. Cureton. Nobody calls me Mrs. Cureton. Mrs. Cureton, this all sounds very good, but why would I use you? As well, apart from the fact I'm exceptionally good at what I do, my high client retention rate is proof of that. But also, I've recently won an award as recognition. At that moment, I did a lot of work on body language when I worked in sales. I could see his involuntary response to that comment. And it was like, he was going to say to his friends down the golf club, I've got an award-winning social media person looking after my stuff.
That makes a lot of difference. So interestingly, we also do awards. We have an international conference that usually happens in October every year. And so the conference has got speakers, panel discussions, and then we also have awards. And so there are different categories and all that. And there's a certificate of recognition as well. And I think that is to recognize the talent that is out there. And obviously, as you rightly said, if it gives somebody, that additional credibility or advantage while sitting in front of their clients or potential clients, then yes, I think as London School of Digital Business, we would like to do that and ensure that, we go to different levels and, help out different businesses in establishing their credibility. Of course, there are lots of other award.
There's so many. I mean, that's the challenge, isn't it, though, Sachin? There are so many awards to enter. And I actually worked with a lady who specializes in helping people entering awards, because I can talk about social media for hours, but I can't write about it. That isn't in my skill set. So I worked with her and she said to me, let's look at it. The other one I was finalist in, I'd forgotten about that one as well, the Rural Business Awards, because where we live is classed as rural. So I was able to enter the Rural Business Awards, which I got shortlisted for as well. But I think awards are great. So I'd had this fantastic year where I was finalist, I'd won awards. In fact, the photograph just behind me is my husband and I actually at the awards. That was before I won. Somebody took that photograph and said, oh, you look really like you're having a really great night. Let's take a photo. And so January 2020 started out with really grand plans. And then in March 2020, when everything happened, I thought, oh my gosh, what can I do? And I put together lots and lots of free things for people. So I was hosting webinars for people to support them, because I was lucky in that I was able to continue working. I was very lucky, very blessed, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Overnight, my husband ended up working upstairs, which is a whole other challenge. He's very noisy. And so I started, and what I decided to do was halve my hourly rate and offer a lockdown rate for people who wanted to grow their presence on social media, because of the situation we were in, wouldn't ordinarily have been able to afford my services. So I massively reduced my hourly rate. So it meant that I was busy. And I think that was important. And I think mentally, financially, it was a very difficult year. But I mean, I was really grateful. I mean, I marginally turned over more in 2020 than I did in 2019. But
you still managed to do by, even after.
Even though I was working, the phrase I used, I was working harder for a little bit more money. I was working more hours. And then last year I started to ease off and stopped doing this special lockdown rate. And last year, I think, was about consolidation. And then this year, I've got quite a lot of plans, because at some point I want to retire.
Right.
My husband won't let me. He said, "You won't. You'll drive us potty." But I've got quite a lot of plans in that I'm getting inquiries now, unsolicited inquiries for people who want their social media managed. And that's something that I used to do personally. But now I have a wonderful associate who I've trained up, and she's just a young entrepreneurially minded woman, and she is taking the route from full-time employed to setting up her own business. So she is now working with me as an associate.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's really exciting because it means that I can write a proposal for that sort of work and take that work on, but I just don't do it. I do all the client-facing stuff because they're buying into what I'm explaining to them. So yes, so this year I'm running a 5-day free mini social media course next week, which we've used a Facebook ad campaign to drive people to, and then we'll do an upsell. And I think this year is all about building on everything I've learned. I think the last 2 years, we've got to, in fact, I have a mantra in my office which says, every experience in life is a lesson to be learned. I have that written on my whiteboard. And I think we've got to take the last 2 years and look at what we've learned from that. And I know that I can be very creative. I know that I can react and respond quickly to situations, but ultimately it's about sustaining relationships. Everything for me comes back to the relationship with the person I'm working with.
Hi there. I just wanted to share with you all why London School of Digital Business is doing this Great People interview series. Well, for the last few years, small and medium businesses have been facing lots of challenges. Individuals have been wondering what's going to happen to their careers because of these emerging trends and technologies, artificial intelligence, VR, AR. What's going to happen? It feels as if the world is changing. And then COVID hit, and there is a lot of depression in the minds of people. So we thought we need to bring in some positivity, bring in some motivation and inspiration. And it's all good to know these stories of, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. But we wanted to talk about the extraordinary stories of the people that you get to see in the ordinary world. They are no way ordinary people. They are great people, but they are the ones you can relate to. Hence, we thought this is something that we want to bring in to increase the chances of success for many, motivate them, give them the insights. And I'm so happy to share that every leader has shared completely unique and different insights because their situations have been different. Somebody was alone, and we know that entrepreneurs are alone at the top and how it feels, and they fought their challenges. Somebody had partnership, business partners, and somebody could not survive the business partnership, so they had to rebuild themselves. Somebody thought, well, I could have done this differently if I was to go back in time. So every insight is so unique. I must thank all the people who shared their journeys, and I'm sure this will help you all succeed in life, increase the chances of your success, as well as reach there faster, and of course, achieve happiness in life. Thank you for listening. Amazing, amazing. So just a few casual, simple questions to lighten the discussion.
Yes, it's all this business stuff.
So one thing that you would have done differently if you were to go back in time, I guess, isn't that your education?
It may have been my education, but honestly, I suppose because of my strong corporate background, It hasn't held me back. About 6 years ago, I said to my husband, should I go and do a course and get a qualification? And he went, well, have any of your customers asked you, or your clients? And I said, no.
That's the point, though. That's the point.
Yeah. But the big thing for me was getting a business coach. So 8 years ago, my husband was between roles, not through choice, and things were quite tough here. And I'd met this business coach, really liked her, thought she sort of got me. And I said, I really want to work with you, but I don't know whether I can sustain your fees because they were high. For the turnover, my turnover at that point was a fraction of what it is now. She said, Karen, I'm so convinced I can make a difference to your business. If in 3 months you haven't doubled your turnover, I'll give you your money back.
Oh.
And we tripled it.
Amazing.
We tripled my turnover. And anybody who is new to business, that for me is the single biggest piece of advice is, number one, get a business coach, a good business coach, because there's a lot of them about.
Yeah.
Get one on recommendation. And the second thing is, don't be frightened to outsource the tasks that you, and my business coach actually said that to me in the first 6 months. She says, Karen, you've got to look at what is not good use of your time, outsource it, because you will earn more in an hour than that person will charge you.
Wow. That's amazing insight, actually. How about your favorite holiday destination?
In the UK, because this summer, for the third year in a row, we're holidaying in the UK. My husband isn't quite ready to travel abroad. We're going to North Norfolk. And wow. North Norfolk is very special to us because we got engaged on Wells Beach, which is the most stunning beach. And our son, from being tiny little baby, has had lots of holidays there. And it's very much a family holiday place. But if I was going abroad, it would be Florence. I love Florence. It's the most beautiful city. And I've been 3 or 4 times now, and I just love it. We went on a city break about, 17 years ago, and just walked around and said, we felt like we were in a Merchant Ivory film. All of it. I'm a builder's daughter. I love architecture. I worked in property. I love buildings. The architecture.
I've been to Florence myself, and it's beautiful. It's a place that you feel really warm, and it's a different kind of peace that you get.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
I've been there, and I can feel that. Of course, it has got that, if I'm not wrong. We spoke about your family a little bit. Husband, a 16-year boy. And,
yes, that's scary.
And any pets at all? Yes,
in fact, I've locked her away because we have a very large pedigree cat. She's a breed called a Maine Coon. In fact, she just had a birthday. She just turned 10, and she is about this big.
Oh.
She's the size of a small to medium-sized dog, but when I tend to sit here when I'm doing my Zoom calls because the lighting's really good. And she will come, and if I don't look away, she'd come and she'll walk up to the camera and kiss it. She's a bit of a personality, is our cat Lulu. But when you work for yourself, and I work in a hybrid way, so I have a really lovely home office here, but I also work near East Midlands Airport. I have an office there that I go to 1 day a week because I think it's really healthy when you work for yourself to be with other people.
Yeah.
So I enjoy going and having my days it's about a 15-minute drive away. It's like I'm going to proper work when I go there, and it's peaceful. There's no Amazon. You talk about challenges in the last couple of years, COVID and deliveries constant. The doorbell would always ring, didn't it, when you were on a Zoom call?
Always it was, yes. uh, and it is becoming part of life going forward for many. Um,
Yeah.
People are feeling, well, something that is much simpler, why not continue? And many offices, for that matter, um, lots of offices in Leicester, Birmingham. I met some businesses in London. They're operating only 2 days a week.
And it is, and I think people got used to being at home. And I think sadly there's a percentage of our workforce who aren't comfortable with going back into offices. I was at an event on Friday, a digital marketing conference, funny enough, and I knew the organisers, and I was chatting to them, and I said, how many people have you got registered? And he said 200 registered. I believe around 100 to 120 attended. So there's still a lot of people who just don't want to go out because they're so I mean, I had COVID last year and I got it. It wasn't very nice, but I'm still here. But I was double jabbed and I'm triple jabbed now. And for me, I think life, one thing the last 2 years has taught us is life can be very brief, and we've got to go out and do what feels right for us. And for me with business now, when I've just written a proposal for a new client for some training, and they're a company of architects and they want some LinkedIn training for the team. And I said to them, please let me know whether you'd like this training delivered in person or online. Yeah. And I do that with every single client, the same as if they're asking for a meeting, I'll say, do you want to meet in person or online? Because I think we have to be, as businesses, we have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's so true. So coming to the last piece of the interview, what's your ultimate goal?
Oh, the ultimate goal, I think, big picture would be somebody to come along and say, I want to buy a business and I can buy a house in North Norfolk. We always said if we won the lottery tomorrow, we would go over there. There's a house that I love and just knock on the door and say, here, I want to buy a house.
Oh,
but
so
that would
you
be
have actually the house that you want to buy.
I've seen the house that I would like to buy, and I mean, it's not for sale or anything, but let's face it, if we won the lottery, it wouldn't matter. But yeah. No, I mean, I'm joking aside, I would buy a house in North Norfolk, definitely. Maybe, yeah, definitely in North Norfolk. But big picture is, practically speaking, because I am a practical, straight talking Geordie girl, is that I'm currently just decided to reduce my hours. So I'm going to do 4 days a week because I'm very fortunate and I have both my parents are in, touch wood, excellent health, and they live just down the road from us. So I want to spend more time with my family. Yeah. I want to see, I would like to bring in more associates into the business. So I just do the training. And I outsource even more. So the lady that's helping me at the minute doing admin will do more admin. So she will do my raising of invoices and all of that, reconciling all my accounts. She can do all of that. And then maybe, actually, at some point, my pensions advisor said to me the other day, when do you want to retire, Karen? And I said, I don't think I'll ever retire. I love Sachin, I love what I do. I love that moment. And you must see this. Yeah. When you're speaking to somebody and you're sharing an idea about something and they just like that, get it. And it's the most, and to me, I've never done drugs, but that to me is the sort of high that I get when
it's self-fulfilling.
It is totally fulfilling. And for me, sadly, I don't think I'll ever be truly rich, but I'll be rich, emotionally rich, because financially secure is very important, 100%. And I'm very blessed that I've got a really great portfolio of clients. I'd like to win another award. I can't say that. I've got to say that up front. I would like to, but big picture, I would like to bring in more associates who will be trusted members of my extended team that I can work closely with, so they understand my ethos around social media, and they can then take on a lot of my work.
Brilliant. So final question, who inspires you and why?
Well, apart from my mum, that's really sad, isn't it? My mum's incredible, but business community, I've had the pleasure, as I mentioned before, of being part of Theo Pafita's Small Business Sunday community. And anybody who's watching this, if you're on Twitter or Instagram now, he's just launched on Instagram, you need to enter it, because what you get then is you get to tap into every year, not apart from last year, he hosts a full day event at the ICC in Birmingham. I got to sit down with the head of marketing for Ryman Stationery. We had the head of Google Europe talking to us about marketing in 2019. He has all of these, he had this year, I was there 2 weeks ago, he had somebody from Dragon's Den that he'd invest in their business telling her story. And Theo Pafita's, there's something when you spend that day with him, I mean, me and quite a few thousand other people, I've got to stress, but it's by invitation only, you have to have won.
Yeah.
He is so giving and so genuine and absolutely passionate about the success of entrepreneurs in England and the UK. I stress that, UK. He is so passionate and supportive, and I love the fact that on his Twitter profile, all it says on his Twitter profile, it says a shopkeeper. and I love that. And he is very genuine. There's something very down to earth, very genuine. I think, yeah, he's great. I really like him. He'd be on my dinner party guest list definitely any day of the week.
So Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll definitely, you could email the details, and we'll try to, push that out through our channels,
Sure.
wherever we could, because I think it's a very useful piece of advice, and truly the direction for lots of people who are listening to this. I think this session has been really useful. Say final thank you, and
Thank you.
it was great having you.
Thanks a lot, and have a great day.
Right.
Take care. See you later.